Why, hello there, everyone. This is Tanuki Tail coming to you T-minus 26 minutes until the Pokemon Direct on February 27th. And according to the screen here, it'll be apparently 7 minutes. So if you are only interested in watching the actual reaction to the presentation, then skip ahead 26 minutes. But I have a lot to say before it starts. So, it may not be so apparent on the channel, just because I haven't really done any Pokemon stuff on the channel, but I'm actually a huge Pokemon fan. A lifelong one, actually. And I've been playing Pokemon competitively since Black and White. So, I'm very excited to see this. Presumably, it's going to be about the new generation on Nintendo Switch. Although when they announced this on Twitter, I saw someone in the comments, they made a pair of fake titles for Pokemon Ultra Let's Go Eevee and Pokemon Ultra Let's Go Pikachu. So I hope it's not that. That would be funny, but not as exciting as what I would be hoping for. So I doubt that they would do that. But it's possible, you know, so I laughed at first, and then I realized, oh, wait, they might actually do something like that. So let's hope they don't do that, and that this is the actual next core entry in the franchise. So, this channel definitely would be focused on Pokemon if I had started the channel closer to when the last Pokemon game came out, or when any core Pokemon game came out. I definitely would have focused on that. Although, it might be a bit too difficult to rebrand the channel as a Pokemon channel now, because if you're going to be live streaming something as tedious as IV breeding or shiny hunting, I think you have to pretty much start your channel on that, because that's a very certain type of content. Anyways, though, okay, so there were some leaks. There were some apparent leaks about the Pokemon game coming on Switch that I didn't see get discussed very much after they were supposedly leaked. But what's interesting, and I haven't heard anyone else connect this, but I saw two apparently separate leaks about the same games, okay? They were not from the same person, but they are pretty consistent with each other, which makes me interested in it, which makes me think, maybe there's something to it. Because the first leak is that this Pokemon game is taking place in the Kanto region. Yes, I hear all the groans. That's what I was thinking too. But it takes place in the Kanto region in the future, in which it's flooded from melting glacier water, which sounds strangely environmentalist coming from a Pokemon game. But that's a really cool setting, if you ask me. This flooded, far future, somewhat dystopian version of the Kanto region, that sounds pretty interesting. So that was the first leak, right? How they said it was sort of a dystopia well, I guess an apocalypse would be more correct, because the world flooding isn't really dystopian in the sense that society is changing, but it's more apocalyptic because it's an actual natural cataclysm. Anyways, that's beside the point. So the next leak I heard, which is really consistent with this, which made me raise an eyebrow, is that, and along with this leak, there was a map. There was an apparent map. It was like a cross-sectional map of the flooded Kanto region. And it included information on what the box legendaries would be. One of which being extremely influenced by Jormungandr, which is the world serpent in Norse mythology. If you played the God of War game that came out, was it last year? It's already been a year. If you played the most recent God of War, then you're pretty familiar with Jormungandr, the world serpent. And then the other box legendary would be a serpent that resides at the top of a mountain. So the duality would be one is under the water and the other one is very high in elevation. You know, low in elevation, very low below sea level, and the other one's very high above sea level. And on the map, there was so much water, and it made sense because Jormungandr, the world serpent, is under a lot of that water. So I'm thinking that there might be something to that, unless they scrapped that idea. But this wasn't too long ago. This was, I remember reading this sometime last year. I bet if I look it up, I could find it again. But this definitely was not way early in development. So I'm thinking that we may see some of that here, assuming the 7 minutes shows off the direction of the game. Obviously, new Pokemon, that's always exciting. They're probably going to show off what the new gimmick is. Sun and Moon was Z moves, and I actually do like Z moves, and then X and Y was Mega Evolutions. Not too big of a fan of Mega Evolutions, just because of how it was implemented. I wish they did more with it. So the metagame during X and Y was that pretty much every team needed a Mega Evolution, and I didn't like that. It pretty much forced... I didn't like that the metagame pretty much forced each team to have a Mega Evolution. It seemed more like a necessity, which decreased team creativity rather than something that would let you increase team building creativity. But I honestly really like... A lot of people may disagree with me, but I actually really like the metagame for Sun and Moon. Because I think that the Z moves... having such a the whole principle of the Z moves, having to trade your item slot for this one-time really powerful move, really shakes things up. And honestly, a lot of different types of teams are viable, because during Black and White, so basically, Gen 4 for Diamond and Pearl, it was all entry hazards. That was the meta, okay? And then, even though I'm still kind of stuck in that meta, because I use Fortress a lot as a lead, which is a really good Pokemon for setting entry hazards, which isn't as viable anymore because of things like Haze, but anyways. Gen 4, Diamond and Pearl meta was all about entry hazards. Gen 5, Black and White was all about weather teams. And then X and Y was all about Mega Evolutions. And then Sun and Moon obviously introduced the Z moves. And honestly, I think that was the time in which there were so many different types of teams viable, which is why I like the metagame currently. What was I saying before I started talking about the metagame? Okay, so minus 18 minutes. 7:42, and it starts at 8. What else should I talk about? And all this stuff. I mean, I have all these things I want to talk about, and then when it comes down to it, you inevitably forget. Let's look at the YouTube chat. Let's see what our very enlightened YouTube users are saying. Man, there are a lot of people watching right now. It's 64,357 watching right now. And it's only growing, obviously, since it hasn't started yet. So I will be live streaming the Combat Cast after this when it starts. I don't know if... So I'm pre-recording this off of Twitch, so I'm going to be uploading this directly to YouTube as soon as I finish recording this. And I don't know how long it'll take to put on YouTube. If it's only 7 minutes long, then it probably won't take that long to get put on YouTube. And so it's likely that this will be public on YouTube before the Combat Cast. So if you're watching this before 3 p.m. Central, then head on over to my Twitch channel. I will be in Raiden cosplay reacting to the Combat Cast. They're going to be showing off a new character. But this video isn't about Mortal Kombat. It's about Pokemon. Okay. I just remembered Game Freak's working on that new IP called Town as well. Wouldn't that be funny if this was actually a bait and switch for a Town Direct? A lot of people are asking, Gen 8 or another remake? I remember a lot of people were thinking that there would be a Diamond and Pearl remake on Switch, which I'm down for. Very nostalgic for Diamond and Pearl. I have a feeling though it's next gen. I think they really want to get on developing new stuff for the Switch and not be bound creatively by Diamond and Pearl if they are remaking that. I think it's much more likely that they just want to go ham with new stuff right now, especially after Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu. Because Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee were made specifically as a sort of rushed job. Not a rushed job, but as something that they could make really quickly to hold people over before this comes out. Because they did not want to rush this game for previous Christmas season. So this is definitely... this will probably be released sometime during the holiday season this year, I would assume. Although I'm pretty surprised. I really thought that they were saving the announcement of this for E3, considering, E3 isn't that far away. And Pokemon's one of Nintendo's cash cows, So I was really expecting them to save this for E3, but they're not. Although this is only 7 minutes, so maybe they want to announce it before E3, and then when it is E3, focus on showing off more rather than announcing it. Uh, 15 minutes! Okay, 76,332 watching now. But yeah, like I said, it's steadily increasing. Who wants to take bets if the fire starter ends up a fighting fire type? I swear, Incineroar must have been a firefighting type originally when they were making him. And then they remembered, wait guys, we've been doing firefighting types a whole bunch. They're going to catch on and not like this. Just change it to Fire Dark. And then they changed it to Fire Dark. It still makes no sense that you can't learn Sucker Punch. Maybe he can as an egg move, but the last I checked, Incineroar could not learn Sucker Punch, which is really, which makes no sense, considering he is supposed to be a dirty fighter. And that wouldn't make him OP. I do not think that the people that make these games, I don't think they are concerned in the slightest about game balance. And I don't know how aware they are of things like Smogon. I don't know if they're thinking, don't worry about balancing it because, the fans will work out their own tier lists and make their different tiers and what's legal and what's not legal. Or if they just don't think about it at all. Oh, I should have been wearing my Smogon shirt. I forgot I had that. I'm wearing the Pikmin, of course. T-minus 13 minutes. $85,353. Also, when I was going to bed last night, I didn't watch it, but I saw IGN posted a Johnny Cage announcement trailer for MK11, and I thought it was fake considering there's a Combat Cast today. I was thinking, why would they release a character trailer mere hours before a Combat Cast when they would save it for that? So I went to the comments to see if it was real, and from what I can tell, the comments make it sound like it is the actual trailer. So for some reason, they did that before the Combat Cast the night before, they just released the character trailer. So when I do the Combat Cast reaction, I'm probably going to open that up and react to that first in the waiting minutes before the Combat Cast itself starts. I didn't want to watch it off stream because obviously if I'm recording a reaction, I want it to be my first impressions. All I saw was the thumbnail, and obviously Johnny Cage looks like how I would expect him to look. He's already been shown off he's already, well, not shown off intentionally. Well, maybe it's intentional, but we've already seen how he looks in pictures that people have found. T-minus 10 minutes. Yeah, so I got into the competitive Pokemon scene starting with Black and White. But might as well ask you guys, what was your first Pokemon game? And what was the first, if you play Pokemon competitively, what was the first Pokemon game that got you into the competitive scene? So, the first, it's weird to answer this for me. My first Pokemon game, so I had a copy of Pokemon Gold and I had copies of Pokemon. It was either Red or Blue. Can't remember. Red or Blue. And I also had Pokemon Gold. I played Gold more, and also a copy of Pokemon Gold for the Game Boy Color. I'm not that old. The Game Boy Color was old when I had it. You know, I had it as a novelty of sorts. But for some reason, correct me if I'm wrong, but Game Boy Color cartridges, how they save is it has a battery on the inside of the cartridge, and it uses that to save in the cartridge. And if the battery dies or if it gets damaged, you can't save. So I'm assuming that's what happened because I couldn't save in it. At the time, I didn't know why. I just thought it was broken somehow, which isn't wrong, but didn't know the specifics of it. So that was broken. So every time it would turn off, I'd have to restart, but I still had fun with it. And then also I had a friend whom I borrowed Pokemon Pearl from. I think it was Pearl. Yeah, Pearl version. Couldn't remember if it was Diamond or Pearl. So yeah, borrowed Pearl version. And then Pokemon Heart Gold I got when it came out. Okay, Pokemon is the franchise I've spent the most amount of hours into. If I were to make a pie chart, and each section, each sector of the pie chart would be, each size of each sector in the pie chart is representative of how much time I've put into the franchise. Pokemon is the biggest piece of that pie chart. Honestly, I've spent so much time in each of those games, and it's difficult not to when you're interested in doing things, you know, like, well, EV breeding used to take up more time. They've made that a lot easier now. They've streamlined that. But EV breeding, IV breeding, which takes a while, shiny hunting, all the side stuff you can do. Such a great RPG. Even if you don't play it competitively. That's one of the great things about Pokemon from a business standpoint. And really from a consumer standpoint too, but I'm specifically thinking of it as why it's so successful, is that Pokemon can be enjoyed on the most casual of levels, and it can also be enjoyed at the most competitive of levels. So it's really for everyone. T-minus 7 minutes. It's only 7 minutes. It's going to go by so quickly. Probably going to analyze it a bit after it's done. Look at the chat again. I would be streaming this on Twitch, but I'd rather record it off stream so I can put it on YouTube as quickly as possible. So I can put it out there while it's still hot and fresh and relevant. Pokepark Battle Royale. Hey, Poke Park was fun. I just wish it wasn't so easy. It didn't have much replay value after you beat all the mini games. I rented it. That was definitely a rent, not buy game. Pokemon Let's Go Stunfisk. I can't even read the chat. It's going by so fast. Okay, wow, okay. Looked away for one moment. Now it's 100,000, well, 134,247. I can't remember precisely the amount of people that were watching the previous Nintendo Direct. But if memory serves, I think way more people are watching this Pokemon Direct than the amount of people watching the last Nintendo Direct. Which in one sense makes sense. I said sense twice, but a different sense. Anyways. It makes sense considering that Pokemon is really popular. But you would expect that a Nintendo Direct that doesn't have a specific game, that's obviously the last Nintendo Direct didn't have a franchise name. Well, it was called the Fire Emblem. They said it was focusing on Fire Emblem, but they didn't call it Fire Emblem Direct. They said Nintendo Direct, focusing on Fire Emblem. So you'd figure a Nintendo Direct not focusing in any one particular game would have more viewership than Pokemon Direct, but apparently not. It seems like the big question in chat is new region or remake. You already know my bet. It's been 7 minutes for 10 minutes. If whoever typed that was saying that as a joke, that's hilarious. But if that wasn't a joke, I don't know what to say. 4 minutes! Person said, new mystery dungeon for Switch, calling it. I would be pretty hyped about that. Although I doubt that they would make a direct exclusively for a mystery dungeon because they know people would get excited for a core entry. So obviously I've been talking about the games, but the games are the main thing about the franchise, obviously. And likewise, the games are the main thing I'm interested in the Pokemon franchise. But I've also watched the anime, which I'm sure most people have. And I play the card game. So I tried to get into the card game competitively when I lived in Alaska, but there was no one else anywhere nearby that I could play that with because no one else there really was into that. And so it's only been it hasn't been until recently that I've been able to get into the card game scene competitively, the competitive scene, because there's a local tournament. There's a local tournament in town each week, which I haven't been going to lately just because I've been so busy with other stuff, but I like going there every now and then so I can talk to other people that like that stuff. So yeah, I like the games, I like the anime, I like the cards. Such a great franchise, honestly. Minus 3 minutes. What's the chat saying? Of course, it's always fun thinking up the different version names. I saw someone say Pokemon Cream and Pokemon Sugar. Although I think if there was going to be a Pokemon Sugar, I think the other one would be Pokemon Salt. Salt and Sugar. Or Salt and Pepper. Or Pokemon Sweet. Pokemon Sweet and Spicy. And then the third one would be Sour. Really, what names do they have left? Honestly, what could they use? I literally predicted that they would do Black and White before Black and White was even announced. Although, that's not too difficult to predict, but still, I got that right. Okay, 217,923 watching now. And obviously there are going to be people that join midstream, unfortunately, and ask, when did it start? Only for their comment to get zipped away in the onslaught of other messages. Someone said we don't need Gen 8, we have too many Pokemon now. Whether it's true or not that we have too many Pokemon, it's inevitable that we only keep getting more and more. So... they're not just going to stop making new ones. Whoa!
Welcome to the Pokemon.
It's only 7:59.
Ishihara.
Why is the quality so low? YouTube, why?
Welcome to the Pokemon Direct.
Hang on.
I'm Ishihara.
I'm going to pause it a little bit so we can catch up. I think it's 360 because I'm getting it immediately. Okay.
Today, I would like to share some very special information with all of you.
You don't say. YouTube, why are you doing this to me? This seems to happen a lot on the YouTube live streams that I watch. Maybe I should just start doing Twitch from now on. Okay.
And this year, a new Pokemon journey will begin for all of you. We've prepared a special video to welcome you to the setting of your next adventure.
A special video.
Please take a look.
Okay, analysis mode engaged. Okay, thought I was messing up again. What if this is town? Okay, so it looks like they're going full on 3D, which was to be expected. Similar art style as Sun and Moon. It's pretty loud. I'm turning that down. What? Why? YouTube! Okay, I'm definitely going to be rewatching this after it's live. Okay. I'm going to pause it, let it catch up a bit. That might be why it's doing that for some reason. Okay, so yeah, the art style is extremely similar to Sun and Moon. I don't think they've shown off any new Pokemon yet. I mean, they might have, but I missed it. Why is this happening? I'm about to move over to the Twitch channel. I mean, YouTube has been doing some really dumb stuff recently. Their new creator studio is awful. Okay, new design. Fire type, presumably. It looked like it was something was peeing on the fire. Oh, so these are the starters, I bet. These look pretty derivative, honestly, but keeping an open mind. Is that another monkey? Yeah, they all look pretty similar. That might be intentional. No, let's not jinx it, but I think it's not going to break this time. On YouTube. Why are you doing this to me? Why me? Guess I'll refresh it again.
I'd like to ask this next guest.
Sword and Shield. We have Aegislash.
I'm Junichi Masuda from Game Freak.
Masuda.
I've been working as the producer
There he
for
is.
these titles. Right now, we at Game Freak are hard at work on the development of Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. For the veteran Pokemon trainers who have experienced so many adventures with us up until now, for the new trainers who held a Pokeball for the first time in the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu game, or the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee game.
I think they only showed
All
off
they're looking to become Pokemon
starters.
trainers for the first time. These games will be new entries in the Pokemon series, role-playing games that will get any player fired up and excited. Since these are new entries, naturally, you'll find that they take place in a new region, with never-before-seen
Let it catch up so it can have good quality.
Pokemon living there.
I'm not really digging the starter designs. They look way too derivative in my opinion, but their final forms might be cool.
So let's turn to the director of these games, our own Mr. Omori.
Gen 3 has the best starters. I don't think Gen 3 starters can ever be topped.
I'm Shigeru Omori from Game Freak.
Why is it doing that?
The setting of these games is known as the Galar region.
Galar.
Galar is an expansive region with many environments, containing idyllic countryside and contemporary cities, vast plains, and craggy snow-covered mountains.
Okay, got the map. It's become a habit. It's become a pattern. Definitely rewatching this.
With the newly discovered Pokemon, you choose to be your first partner, aiming for the enviable and admirable title of champion. So let's get to know the Pokemon that could be your next partner.
I was curious if they were going to do
Chimp Pokemon Grookey. This
chimp.
mischievous
Oh,
Pokemon
it has a tail.
with boundless curiosity.
That's not a chimp if it has a
Rabbit
tail,
Pokemon
I think.
Scorbunny, which is always running about, bursting with energy. And the water lizard Pokemon Sobble. It's a bit timid, shooting out
I'll have to
attacks
see the final
in
forms.
the water. You'll choose one of these distinct.
I was going to say, I'm wondering if they were going to show off if they're doing more conventional gyms, or if they're going to do the Trials thing from Sun and Moon. But I think Trials,
Never before seen Pokemon waiting to meet you
I think
and
Trials were a Sun and Moon only thing.
As we work on the development of these games, our goal has been to create the greatest Pokemon experience yet. We're challenging ourselves to try new things, while still treasuring what makes Pokemon special. So we hope you'll all be looking forward to the adventures awaiting you in the Galar region.
What the heck? It's already been 6 minutes.
So, what did you think?
Is that it? Told you that was going to be fast.
Pokemon Shield will be released simultaneously worldwide.
Okay, so they use that to show the names, the starters, and the art direction.
All you'll have to look forward to in 2019. We've got plenty in the works for the Pokemon brand that we hope will delight you. Thank you all for tuning in today.
Okay, definitely, like I said, I'm going to rewatch this. Let me put the banner up while I do that. I don't know if they immediately publicize the stuff after it goes, after the live stream stops. It's still technically live right now. I think I have to wait for it to not be live. What the heck? It says it says Pokemon Direct 2/27/2019, 5 days ago. Maybe I think they created it 5 days ago as an event that you could set a reminder for. I think that's why it says that. Okay, so let's open this. Okay, I think it's encoded now. Yeah, we can rewatch it for real. Okay, and we don't have to worry about it crashing. Okay. Last 7 minutes.
With all of you. Pokemon trainers all around the globe have already enjoyed many adventures in the various regions of the Pokemon world.
I'm going to,
Along the way,
since I'm
trainers
rewatching it,
and
might as well
countless
analyze it
other
here.
countless other Pokemon trainers and experience stories
Everything in
all
the
around.
background's old stuff.
And this year, a new Pokemon journey will begin for all of you. We've prepared a special video to welcome you to the setting of your next adventure.
It's going to be difficult for them to top Sun and Moon. Sun and Moon's pretty great. Yeah, little Fletchling, Weather Vane. That's what it's called, right? Weather Vane? It's presumably the starting town. Like I said, going with the similar art style. Different locations. So yeah, these places are full on 3D now, like before. Oh wait, okay, so using a Minccino. Okay, so it looks like, okay, so the one thing it seemed like competitive players did like about Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee was that instead of wild encounters being RNG'd from the grass, is that they spawn from RNG, and then to have a wild encounter, you have to actually touch them. It looks like they're not doing that. It looks like they're doing the conventional wild encounter method. Yeah. So that's interesting. I thought they were going to keep that from Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu. What did they just capture there? Okay, that was wishy-washy. What was that? Was that looked like that was Axew's. I forget I always forget the middle evolution, because you see the baby form all the time from breeding them, and then obviously you see the final evolution all the time in competitive play, but you never see the middle one very often. Like, Haxorus is the final evolution, and then Axew's the middle one. I forget the middle. Oh, I made it go too far back. Play it slowly. Okay, 29:39. Oh no, that's Hydreigon's pre-evolution. Yeah, they're not going to be showing off anything new in here. Might as well check, though. Oh yeah, listen to that. I thought that they would be making it a lot more different than Sun and Moon. This looks very similar. Yeah, nothing new here. Ooh. Might as well make it normal speed here. That looks like obviously some sort of side thing you can do, like the Battle Resort. I think it was called Battle Resort. Not actual game footage, you don't say. So is this supposed to be... Hold on. I might be reading too far into this, but normally Pokemon takes place in a utopian-like near future. This makes it look like it's steam-powered, like they're in an industrial revolution, which I doubt. I doubt they're going to go back into the lore of Pokemon. Usually the pre-utopian stuff is always just saved for flavor text and things like that. But this makes it look like, maybe it's not going to be so futuristic themed, but more industrial revolution. But I doubt it. I think I'm reading too far into that. I think it's just this one place. Although that would be interesting. Like I said, not a fan of these starter designs. Way too derivative. But it's understandable that it becomes more and more difficult over time to make more original looking designs, considering there are so many designs already, and you have to make the new ones not look like something that already exists. I would say I'm most excited to see what the water one looks like, because obviously you can tell the fire thing's a rabbit, it's going to look like some sort of rabbit. The grass starter's a monkey or chimp, it's going to look like some sort of primate. However, this water starter Doesn't look like anything in particular, so it could look like anything in its final form. See, he's on a looks like he's on top of a factory with with a chimney below him. I think that was the last of the actual game they were showing, right?
Pokemon
For the first to experience.
I'm working as the director for Pokemon and Crag.
Let's look at the region again.
Galar region.
It's very vertical. That's an interesting
Galar is an
decision.
expansive region with many
I wonder if there's going to be much surfing then. Maybe they literally took it to heart what IGN said. Too much water. Because I don't see any reason why you'd go off in the ocean on the right side if it wouldn't be used to get to any other landmass. Unless you loop back around to the other side, which would be interesting. Although I doubt that's the case, because this isn't the whole planet.
containing idyllic countryside and contemporary cities. Vast
Contemporary cities.
and craggy snow-covered mountains.
I'm trying to figure out if they want it to be in... No, I think it's just this one city that looks like it's Industrial Revolution, because they showed off other cities that look more modern. Yeah, definitely.
The people and Pokemon live here.
This color palette here reminds me a lot of... Can't I land it on it? This color palette here, this reminds me a lot of Monster Hunter 4.
Pokemon live here, and they've worked together to develop the industries in the region.
Okay, yeah, the
Here
industries.
in
That's a
this
big
region,
focus.
You'll visit gyms with the newly discovered Pokemon you choose to be your first partner, aiming for the enviable and admirable title of champion.
Obviously, that's some sort of important building.
Let's get to know the Pokemon that could be your next partner. The chimp Pokemon, Grookey. This
Yeah, right now,
is
if we have to pick favorites, I'm picking the water one.
the rabbit Pokemon Scorbunny, which is always running about, bursting with energy. And the water lizard Pokemon
But
Sobble. It's a bit timid.
can't say for sure until you see the final evolutions. As they say, be careful who you call ugly in middle school.
Along the way,
Sobble.
never before seen Pokemon waiting to meet you and be discovered.
Sobble.
As we work on the development of these games, our goal has been to create the greatest Pokemon experience yet. We're challenging ourselves to try new things while still treasuring what makes Pokemon special. So we hope you'll all be looking forward to the adventure.
that's a made-up language
in
there.
the Galar region.
So, what did you think? Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. will be
Sword and
released
Shield.
worldwide in late 2019.
Wonder why they called it that.
And that's not all you'll have to look forward to in 2019.
It's weird that they're calling it that just because there's Aegislash already. Which, for anyone that doesn't know, is a Ghost and Steel type Pokemon. It's literally a possessed sword and shield. Thank you for watching. No problem. Okay, so... obviously, that was the Pokemon Direct. I think I've expressed all my thoughts about it already. It looks like they were just using this to establish and show everyone what the art style is. Obviously, the names, the name of the region, and the starters, presumably, so that way when they start talking about this more at E3, they don't have to introduce things. They can immediately start talking about it and refer to it as in Sword and Shield and refer to the region as the Galar region, I think it was, without having to explain it or show it off for the first time. Now they can really... Now they don't have to introduce this at E3. They can go more into the details, which obviously I'm excited about because I really want to see the details and the specifics of this because this is very general, which nothing in here was too unexpected. Nothing in here was too wild. I was expecting them to go a bit more wild with the formula, considering it's on Switch now. Although they've been developing for the handhelds for so long, you can't expect them to do anything too wildly different that they're not comfortable with. Obviously, the flooded Kanto region, that's not happening here. Although maybe they said that there were other Pokemon titles coming out this year. Spin-offs, presumably. So maybe the flooded Kanto thing is a spin-off game. Maybe that's a Pokemon Ranger game. Forgot about Pokemon Ranger. Maybe that's a Pokemon Ranger game, or a Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game, who knows? So obviously it could be fake, but it might still be a thing, just not a core game. What else? Any last thoughts? Like I said, I think I expressed everything I was thinking when I was watching it for a second time. Well, more like watching it for... it's more like I watched it 1.5 times. The first time I watched it was half, and then the second time I watched it was was an entire time of watching it. So they laid the groundwork for E3. Can't wait to see what they show off more. Be sure to share your comments below. What do you think? Which starter do you think will have the best final evolution? I know those debates are always fun. So, this was that. Yeah, this was the Pokemon Direct. I will see you guys later. And remember, the link to my Twitch channel is in the description. So if you want to go watch me live when I play games and whatnot, go follow me on Twitch. And also, don't forget to like the video. Thanks.